Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Modernize SAP Sales CPQ and Subscription Usage Billing using SAP Cloud Solutions. This webinar is organized by Accrete in partnership with Zuora. Before we get started, I would like to go over a couple of housekeeping items. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the chat box that you have on the right side of your screen. We will bring them up after the presentation. This webinar is being recorded and will be sent to you following the presentation for your own purpose or to share with your team. And before we start, I will go over the agenda that we have for today's webinar. So in this session, we will explore how to modernize your sales CPQ and subscription usage billing processes using SAP Cloud Solution and Zuora. We will also look at how Zuora supports subscription order management and wrap up with the key lessons learned from successful customer transformation or implementations that we have done. And so let's get started with the quick introductions of our panelists today. We have Ashish Saxena. He is Vice President SAP Solutions at Accrete. Ashish.
Thanks, Ajay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So I'm responsible for all project delivery at Accrete. I've been doing SAP for 25 plus years and done order to cash, service to cash, supply chain and financial implementations across pretty much S4, across SAP Sales and Service Cloud, CPQ, BRIM, etc. Multiple solutions worked on. In the past, used to work for one of the big fives, and I worked with them for 10 years. And I also worked in different industries, like high-tech medical devices, manufacturing, consumer goods, etc. And Petra and I know each other for a long time. So I'll hand it over to Petra for the quick intro.
Yes, hello. Hi, I'm Petra Lichthart. Thank you very much, Ashish and AJ, to give me the opportunity to co-present in this webinar. I will give you some more information later on about Zuora's monetization platform. Ashish and we worked at KPMG for a long time ago. After KPMG, I moved to SAP. I worked for them 16 years, and I'm now with Zuora for 5 years. I am owning the effort within Zuora to build standard integrations between SAP and Zuora, and I will tell you later on, I will tell you more about it. So with that, I'm back to Ashish.
Yeah, thanks, Petra. So one more thing which I forgot to mention was that, we are partnering with Zuora. We are a Zuora partner, and we are building a integration with Zuora and SAP S4 HANA private cloud, public cloud, as well as ECC as well. Go ahead, Ajay.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you, Petra. So let's start today's presentation. So Petra, could you start today's presentation and talk about monetization relationships?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go to the new slides, just want to take a step back about kind of, the evolution of what we call subscription, the subscription economy. So in 2007, Zuora introduced the term subscription economy. And, that's, it's about close to 20 years right now. So it's a long time. But that started, that shift started with companies were not only selling products anymore, but slowly and surely the shift toward a more services-centric economy came about. So it was no longer anymore, about creating a product, selling the product, and delivering the product. It's really more like, how do I acquire customers? How do I convert customers? How do I engage customers with the right digital services? So if you think about it, 20 years ago, you bought a car and then you bought a car. That's it. Right now, if you buy a car, you get a multitude of services with it, and also software services. And the goal is really about the overall experience, the overall customer experience. So in a way, if you can see on the right-hand side of the slide, what we call the old world was focusing on the product. In the new world, we're focusing on the customer. We're focusing on growth over a customer lifetime. We're focusing on adding value, and we're focusing obviously on revenue tied to customer usage. And that's a shift, and that shift is still going on. So if you look at the next slide, it's constantly evolving. So if you take on the left-hand side, you had the subscriptions in, let's say, 10, 20 years, about 20 years ago, that, the shift to the subscription economy. And then in the last 10 years, you got all those other models coming up, the usage models, consumption, prepaid drawdown, pay as you go, buy now, pay later. And, it's not stopping. In a way, it's accelerating. If you look at the whole AI boom, who knows what models we will have in 2 years or maybe even next year, So bottom line is that one model is not enough. So if you see on the next slide, with one model, you will not be able to grow your business. You will not be able to maintain that market share. You will not be able to maintain that brand loyalty that you so need. So with that, you need to be able to grow your company and be very agile. You need to be able to introduce new pricing models within a couple of weeks or within 1 week, within 1 day, instead of introducing new pricing models in 6 months, because by that time you're already too late. So if you go to the next slide, so what we see in our customer base is that they are hitting roadblocks in having that agility. So it's very hard for companies to introduce those new business models very fast, and they lack agility. They cannot expand. They cannot expand via, to get more regions on the system or to cover end-to-end processes. A lot of manual processes by, having a new price for a product. It's sometimes all manual work that you need to do. So bottom line is that, you need to have, in a way, a scalable enterprise-ready platform wherein you can grow with market demands and grow with your customer demands. And if you go to the next slide, I will be wrapping up with this statement. And then I will be handing it over to Ashish, and then I will come back later on kind of how Zuora is dealing with those particular challenges.
Thanks, Petra. So I'm going to share my slides. So, we actually had a webinar a month ago for service and repairs and channel managements. This is the second of that webinar. What we wanted to cover was how do you manage sales and subscriptions. I mean, Petra talked about the subscription part of it as well. So some SAP customers already have sales implemented or subscriptions implemented, and many of them would like to implement it as well. So what we have done is we are giving you some options, if assuming SAP is your core platform, where you can implement the different options which are there depending on the complexity or the business models, etc., which you have on the landscape which you have. So I'm going to start with, saying if you already had SAP CRM and ECC and want to migrate, from sales or subscriptions into S4, what is the objects which are there in SAP CRM and how do they map to S4? So the SAP CRM org model is remaining the same, but there is a change in the enterprise org model which has been added in S4, which is more simple and easy to use. So most companies are heading towards that. All the other stuff like business partners, products, product bundles remain the same. I object, which was replicated from equipment to CRM and ECC. is going away. It will be replaced with the equipment which already exists in S4, and if you had ECC as well. And then install base is also going away, and you will be using functional location which already existed in S4. Then the IPC, which was there for SAP CRM, is going away. You're going to use SG pricing. And there are some enhancements in SG pricing, and there is some config work to be done to make it work from the service side of things, or from the S4 sales and service side of things. The rule modeler, the categorization, the survey and actions are migrated to SAP S4 the way it is. T-Rex, which is a search engine, was gone away. It's based on Java. It's replaced with enterprise search in S4, which is a standard functionality in S4. Two new functionalities have been added in S4. So payment cards, which you are using in SAP CRM, won't work the way it is. You probably is recommended to use a digital payment add-on, which SAP provides, which you can now link it up with any payment gateway or company like Paymetric, Global Pay, Stripe, etc. And then variant configuration, which was replicated from SAP ECC to S4. Now you can use advanced variant configuration, which is more robust and easy to use and got multiple rules, etc. Similarly, going on in the sales side of things, leads and opportunities and activity management have been migrated from SAP CRM to S4. You can use them as well. Territory management, which existed in SAP CRM, you cannot use in S4. You will have to use SAP Sales Cloud. And sales contract and sales orders are already existing in S4, so you can reuse the same ones as well. And then the functionality of solution code, where you could bundle a subscription which could have a physical product or services or software or training, etc. Or you could have a dummy product where you could bundle all of them, including subscriptions. That solution code functionality is now migrated to SAP S4. Things like account plan and pipeline management are not available in S4. You have to use a SAP Sales Cloud to do that. Mobile sales is also not available. You can have the salesperson, if they want to have access to all the leads opportunities, they need to implement mobile SAP Sales Cloud as well. CRM billing and rebates are going away. They're not being used. You can have to implement condition contracts in SAP S4, and SD billing is there as well. So that's just a high-level object mapping between CRM and S4 and how things have been moved and what are the new things which is there and what existing thing has been migrated and what functionality you can leverage in S4. Now I'm going to talk about 4 options on how you can implement SAP S4 sales. So the option 1 is the simplest option. You can do the basic sales functionality in S4. You can do accounts and contact management. You can create a lead. You can qualify the lead, assign the lead, with a partner or with other sales reps as well. See, leads can be converted in opportunity. The opportunity can go through different phases which are there. And then you can also do activity management or create activities for all the three of them. So, if you have to do a phone call or email or visit, etc., you can do that as well. And once the opportunity is won, you can create a quote from it. And then you can create the sales order once the customer accepts a quote, and you can do the shipping, billing, etc. So this is very basic as functionality which exists there end to end from a lead to cash perspective. So there are some pros. There are no extra licenses fees. This is one system. There is no middleware, and the end-to-end process is there in one system. The con is it's not really a full-fledged sales functionality. It's only meant for companies who have the need of a basic sales functionality. They don't really need mobile, etc. But things like territory management, sales forecasting, account plans, mobility, integration with Sales Navigator and other sales stuff, which is there typically in any sales solution, is lacking here. That's option 1. Option 2 is you can implement SAP Sales Cloud and along with SAP S4HANA. So the pre-sales part would happen in Sales Cloud, and all the order processing and shipping would happen in SAP S4. So you can create an account or contact in SAP Sales Cloud. You can replicate it to S4, or you can get it from S4 into Sales Cloud as well. You can create a lead in Sales Cloud. And SAP Sales Cloud, which is the latest version, called SAP Sales Cloud V2, is built by SAP ground up. It's supposed to be quite user-friendly and nicer compared to the previous versions. The lead can be assigned to a territory, the sales reps can be assigned to territories, and the territory can be automatically assigned. Leads can be assigned to sales reps or even third-party reps as well. Once the lead is qualified, you can have an opportunity created to it, and territory management can also be copied over from the territories can be copied over from the lead, or can determine it again. You can also have activities, again, like phone calls, emails, visits, etc. And they can be tied to all the three objects like accounts, leads, and opportunities. The opportunity obviously needs a product, and you can replicate the material from SAP S4 into Sales Cloud, and you can do pricing using SAP S4 by making a real-time call to SAP SAP S4, or you can do some basic pricing. You can create, have the basic pricing in opportunity and do it in Sales Cloud as well. Then you can have a pipeline management in a Sales Cloud, wherein the managers can check which opportunities are, moving fast, which are moving slow, and what can be done to, improve the opportunity, or move it to a specific phase, or move it to the next phase, etc. Once the opportunity is won, you can convert that to a quote in SAP Sales Cloud. Again, the Sales Cloud can use the pricing from SAP S4, and it can be replicated to SAP S4. The other option is you can do a mashup and create the opportunity from the opportunity, directly create a sales quote. This is a preferred approach because there's no middleware, but both the options are available as well. So the sales quote is then converted to a sales order. You can, once the customer accepts it, and the sales order is replicated and linked up to the quote as well in Sales Cloud. So, salespeople can see it, what's the order number for a specific quote as well, and then you can ship it and bill it to the customer. In addition, there is additional functionality in Sales Cloud. I mean, I'm not talking about the full functionality which is there, but things like forecasting, account planning, integration with Sales Navigator, Outlook, Teams, etc. All of that is available. It also has AI capabilities. So a lot of SAP has built a lot of AI capabilities in the Sales Cloud solution, as well as S4 as well. Option 3 is if you want to have a full-fledged solution where you can configure a product, as well as you want to generate the proposal. Many companies have quite complex proposals wherein you can have generate a 20-page document with all the configuration and terms and conditions and etc., which needs to be sent to the customer in a PDF format or a Word format or a link or whatever. All those things is possible as well. So in this, we actually have 4 systems. The SAP VCP, which stands for Variant Configuration and Pricing, is not really a system, it's a microservice. SAP CPQ is a system. I'm going to talk about it as well. So the way it's going to work is you can have accounts and contacts, as I said earlier, replicated between Sales Cloud and S4. You can have the accounts come to SAP CPQ as well. Material in S4 can be replicated into the SAP CPQ and Sales Cloud. And then the step which I described earlier of activity management, leads and opportunities, etc., can be done in the Sales Cloud. Now, the other additional thing which is needed is variant configuration. So you can do in the SAP CPQ itself, you can do modeling, but then you will end up with 2 variant configuration models, one in SAP CPQ and one in S4, and then how do you sync up together? If you have simple modeling, then yeah, SAP CPQ modeling might be fine. But if you are already using SAP S4 and have complex variant configuration, and you're using it in a sales order and a production order for manufacturing, etc., The simplest way is you replicate the variant configuration as a knowledge base into SAP CQ, SAP VCP using SDI framework. It's done on a daily basis. So if there is any change to any existing configuration, it can be sent over to SAP VCP. Now, what does SAP CPQ do with that? So once you create the quote from an opportunity in SAP CPQ, so basically you create the opportunity in Sales Cloud, and that gets converted into a quote in SAP CPQ. All the data which were entered, like products, customer, etc., come over into the quote, and then you configure the product. And when you configure it, it's making real-time calls to this microservice called SAP VCP, and you pretty much are configuring the product. And then once the product is configured and the pricing, etc., is done, you can generate a proposal. It could be in any format, PDF, Word. You want to email it out, or the different flavors of that. You want to have a detailed proposal, you want to have a simpler proposal, and there are different options which can be leveraged. And this definitely makes the life of a salesperson pretty easy, instead of compiling a Word document or a PDF and generating a proposal. So once the code is accepted, it can create a sales order in SAP S4 HANA, and the code is also replicated to Sales Cloud for reference purposes as well. And then you can have the sales order can also be replicated from S4 HANA to and link it up with the opportunity in the Sales Cloud. And then you can ship and bill it. So that's option 2, wherein you use SAP CPQ for configuring as well as the proposal generation as well. Now, I'm also going to talk about a solution wherein you are going to use the solution code, which I mentioned, where you have a bundle of which comprises of a subscription, could have physical products, could have services, could have training, could have software, etc. So the process is going to be exactly similar. The only difference here is you will use something called the solution code. So instead of creating an order, we're creating a solution code from SAP CPQ, and the code number is also replicated to the opportunity as well. And the solution code can then trigger follow-on documents called a service contract, a sales order, service order, subscription contract, etc., for follow-on processing as well. You could create a subscription order as well and do the same thing as well, but that's just another option which is there. So these are some of the options which are there for sales. If you already are using SAP CRM Sales, you can bundle the config and bundle the user interface changes and enhancements, and download all the leads, opportunities, quotes, etc., and then basically import them into S4 Sales, all the leads, opportunities, as well as the config. You'll have to do some tweaking on the S4 side because some things have changed, like I mentioned earlier, like org model, etc. Basically, it's a lift and shift model. So for SAP CRM Sales, leads and opportunities and quotes, you can do a lift and shift. However, if we have to do SAP CPQ, or if we want to do SAP Sales Cloud, it's going to be a greenfield implementation, wherein we have to implement it fresh. Obviously, data can be migrated. So that is about SAP, about sales and CPQ. Now I'm going to talk about subscription management and usage billing. So SAP CRM, if you guys are aware, or had SAP BRIM comprised of three components: convergent charging, convergent invoicing, which was part in ECC, and then subscription order management or subscription management, which was part of SAP CRM. So that, obviously, with SAP CRM going away, I'm going to talk about what's a replacement. Similarly, you also had usage billing. Some customers had a usage-based contract, like you have a printer and you have a contract, and then you report what was the usage or how many copies were printed, and that functionality was also in SAP CRM. Now both are going away, so there is some newer objects which have been created for that. So if you were using subscription management, the functionality is pretty much brought in as is. The only key differences are, for subscription products, you're using a material type called SUBS, and there are some more material types which have been created as well. The provider contract is now called a subscription contract. Functionality is pretty similar, I think just a naming. Provider order is called a subscription order. Rest pretty much remains the same. If you are using usage-based contract or usage-based billing, you literally have to get rid of it totally and implement it in SAP Subscription Management and Subscription Conversion Charging for usage-based contract. If you had pooled contract, you need conversion charging and subscription management in SAP S4. Counter reading needs conversion charging, usage-based billing, conversion invoicing. And if you're using a change process and usage contract, they're available in the subscription contract as well. So change processes, we'll talk about the change process a little later on. So that's how you migrate. Again, it is for migration from SAP CRM, or if you're doing a greenfield. In either cases, I have 4 options here as well. In this convergent SAP BRIM scenario, wherein convergent charging is optional. It's not a must-have. But if you are using things like usage billing, or you are using promotions, or you're sharing, if you're sharing, let's say you have an office, and you have 10 printers or copiers and it has to be shared, all that stuff probably has to be done on convergent charging. You have to leverage convergent charging. Or if you have to do allowances, saying, okay, you're going to get 100 copies free per month. All that stuff is managed in convergent charging. Convergent charging is a separate license, but subscription management and convergent invoicing exist in S4 itself. So, you can have in S4, you can define the products and, subscriptions and bundles, and, use advanced variant configuration as well. You can define the pricing for the product. You can define usage pricing. Usage pricing is really defined in convergent charging. You can do some basic pricing in S4 also, but if you have to do proper usage-based pricing, you have to do it in convergent charging. And SAP S4 calls, SAP CC for allowances and charging and pricing, etc. You also have a technical resource, which is really an equipment. So it could be a cell phone, it could be a printer ID, etc. All of that stuff goes into creating a solution code. So you need products, pricing, customer, technical resource. This solution code is only used if you don't want to use, if you want to use quoting in SAP. If let's say if you don't want to do quoting, or you want to do a third-party solution for quoting, you could create a subscription order as well. The functionality is going to be very similar. So what does the solution code do? Once it's accepted, once it's accepted, it may have a physical product. So you can ship the product to the customer and do SD billing for that one. You can have a contract wherein you can say, oh, we're going to bill you for maintenance services for every quarter for $100 a month, and that is then billed using the billing request. This service contract can also have need revenue recognition. So generally, most of the customers who implement either subscriptions or do bundles, they end up using revenue recognition solution. It could be SAP RAR, and ZUORA also has a solution as well. ZUORA, you can use ZUORA as well as an alternate. Then solution code can have a service order as well. If you want to do installation or any other services which have to be performed, they can be done using the service order, and costs can be tracked, and actual execution can be tracked using the service order and confirmation. If it is billable, then you can use the billing request as well. What I forgot to mention was this process is mostly for B2B scenarios, and you are using accounts receivables, FIAR functionality. The other option would be for B2C, where you will have to use contract accounts, contract account receivables and account payables. And we'll get there in a minute anyways. But there are different processes to be followed for both. So the fourth thing is solution code creates something called a subscription contract. This subscription contract is replicated to convergent charging using a provider contract. There is a ODI framework, which SAP CRM also had and SAP S4 also has. So the same framework has to be used. There are different steps which can be defined there. And the ODI framework also creates something called a convergent invoicing provider contract for usage-based billing. And you can have a provider contract for recurring billing as well. So you can define billing plans in convergent invoicing as well. All these brown boxes are for convergent invoicing. Again, they're part of S4, no separate license. So the billing plan would then create something called a convergent invoicing billing plan, would create a billable item. This billable item is then it goes into convergent invoicing billing, which then creates a billing request for SD billing. So basically, if you see this, the SD billing is fed using a billing request from for service, for physical sales, for service orders, for convergent invoice billing, and then you can create one invoice, or you can create an invoice list if needed, and then it posts to accounts receivable. So moving on, you can see that if there was usage data, which is coming in from third-party systems, you can do charging and rating. Basically, this determines which the usage data is for which equipment, which account, and what's the price. So if you were using, let's say, cell phone data, what's the usage of the voice, what's the usage of data, who is it for, and then it creates something called a convergent billable item usage, which then again goes to the convergent CI billing and creates a billing request, etc., using this process. And then you can also have change orders. So, if you were to lock a contract, if you want to extend a subscription contract, if you were to, put it on hold, there are multiple, or if you want to change the customer, etc. There are a lot of processes which are there in change processes which are there, which trigger a change order and update the subscription contract and then send it to the follow-on systems as well. So this is an end-to-end processes. Again, there are various flavors and options which are there. Obviously, that will come up during a design of this, but this is just a high-level process about the solution. Okay, so then I'm going to talk about B2C scenario wherein contract accounts and accounts receivable and payable is used. So this process is very similar. There is no difference between the other process and this until now. What the difference here is usage of convergent invoicing. So imagine a cell phone bill. You have an account with T-Mobile or AT&T or whatever, and your spouse has an account as well, has a cell phone as well. Your children have a cell phone as well. So in that case, you want to track usage of each of those devices, whether it's data, data or voice or text, etc. And you may want a summary bill, and you may want to have details of as well. So if you are going to use a lot of details to be provided in the invoice, it is recommended to use convergent invoicing. Convergent invoicing can be used in both the cases. We're just talking about that. Okay, this is probably a preferred method if you were doing B2B versus B2C. So the key difference here is, sorry, I went to the wrong place. Yeah. So you see the convergent item, billable recurring item, convergent billing item, all use convergent invoicing, SD billing for, whether it's a solution for a service contract or a physical shipment or billing request. All of them use convergent invoicing for invoicing to the customer. As I said earlier, this can provide details as well as summary, and then it flows into FICA, which is a sub-ledger in S4, and they can obviously reconcile to the AR main ledger as well. But basically, this is used for open item management. SAP also has another solution called subscription billing. This solution was primarily designed for subscriptions only, and it can handle primarily subscriptions. It cannot handle physical goods and other stuff, but we can have an option by which it can handle physical goods and services as well. So you can model, configurable subscriptions here, or you can have regular subscriptions. You can define rate plans, which basically says, oh, it's going to be billed monthly or advanced, etc. And you can define the pricing for that as well. It's going to be $100 per month, etc. The material can be created from this products. They can be replicated from subscription to materials. Allowances for getting free copies or promotions, etc., can be defined as well along with the product. The rate plans also replicate to S4 as part of the material information. You can have business partners or customers replicated from S4 into subscription billing. You can use the tech resource or the equipment, as I explained earlier, allowances. So basically, you create a subscription in a subscription billing, which uses the subscription information, the rate plans, the allowances, the pricing, the resource ID and customer, and it creates a subscription in subscription billing solution. This is a cloud-based solution. And then you could potentially use an enhancement and do a solution quote in SAP S4 and then create a subscription for one of the components. As I showed in previously, the fulfillment of physical goods and services, etc., can be done in S4. The subscription can be created in subscription billing. This is not standard. You probably have to do an enhancement to get this created, but it can be done as well. So subscription, then you can get usage data from, you can create usage data manually or upload it using files, and then it links up with the subscriptions, and then you can generate bills for the subscription, whether it's based on monthly or recurring or based on usage. You can create the bills. The bills then create a billing request in SAP S4, and the subscription creates a provider contract, like I mentioned in the previous slide as well. And this billing request can use SD billing. Again, you can combine them using the billing, using SD billing when you create the billing request or physical delivery or service order, etc., into one SD billing, and it creates a accounts receivable posting in SD or in finance. Sorry. So that's the option with FI AR with subscription billing. Subscription billing can also work with we can also work with FICA as well, right? So you can use contract accounting, accounts receivable and payables. Again, the solution is until the subscription is similar. Beyond that is, it creates a revenue forecast. Sorry, it creates a revenue forecast, and that replicates to a billing plan in S4. The provider contract gets replicated as well. And from the bills in subscription, you have to create a convergent invoicing billable item. I mean, in the previous scenario, you saw it was a billing request. In this scenario, you're doing a billable item as well. And from the billable item, you can take it for convergent invoicing billing, and convergent invoicing billing plus the billing request for service plus the billing request for installation service or for physical good. All of them can be combined using convergent invoicing, and then you can use FICA for all open item management as well. So that's the 4 options for subscriptions and bundle sales. RAR can also be implemented in this scenario. You can use a provider contract and a service contract for revenue recognition and revenue allocation as well if you were using bundling as well. So again, in the case of Greenfield, obviously you have to do everything Greenfield if you are doing Greenfield. But if you had SAP CRM where you were already using subscription management, you can again download all the solution code, provider order, and the contract and all the enhancements, and do a lift and ship and upload them into S4. Again, some configuration might be needed, or changes might be needed on the S4 side because of the new config and the technical landscape. However, if you are using usage-based contract, you have to do a greenfield implementation using convergent charging and convergent invoicing and subscription management. So those are all the options for sales and CPQ quote, as well as subscriptions and bundle products. Now I'm going to hand it over to Petra, she can talk about the Zuora platform and how it can help solve how it can help implement.
Thank you.
The solution.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Ashish. So if we go to the next slide, I will, can you remember when I did the intro, we kind of concluded like you need to have a scalable enterprise-ready platform to deal with your subscriptions and with all your new business models that you're launched in the past or that you're going to launch in the future. So to summarize, and what is needed is you need to be able to monetize anything. And with that, I mean everything from subscriptions, usage-based billing, in combination with hardware items, maintenance, bundles, promotions, etc. So ZUORA will offer kind of the possibilities to kind of for all these models, and also kind of combine these models in bundles and process them throughout the system. It needs to be quick, you know, if you think about the whole AI motions, all the new business models that will come with that, the new monetization models, you have to be able to price and package and bundle, you know, within weeks, not months, because then you miss the boat. We also cover end-to-end processes. So here you can really use ZUORA as a complete subledger to SAP, and I will show you in a minute how that will work. Also very important, because the subscriber is central to everything. You need to be able to orchestrate those subscriber experiences, and you need to take those experiences and kind of predict the future. What are their behaviors? You know, what are the models that they are interested in? So that is, I'm not going to go into detail right now, but that is also something that we offer. And very important, integrate seamlessly. ZUORA is part of an ecosystem. In SAP customers, the landscape is pretty much kind of dominated by SAP, but ZUORA fits in completely as a subledger, and it integrates seamlessly with SAP. And we have a whole roadmap there. We are kind of in the middle of that effort of building standard integrations, which we do together with Ashish and his team. And we're also working closely here with SAP, obviously. So let's go to the next slide, Ashish. So what I mentioned, the Zuora Monetization Platform, on the left-hand side, you see all the monetization things, you know, the ability to price, package, bundle, process subscription, process consumption models, and things like that, setup of the product catalog. On the right-hand side, the financial operations is really what we call our ZUORA order to cash or order to revenue processes. And that enables you to take the order, to build the order, collect on it, do the AR activities, and recognize the revenue. So we have two main products, or actually three main products: ZUORA Billing, Payments, and ZUORA Revenue. And here I'm highlighting SAP because, you know, the integrations with SAP are obviously very important for us. So if you go to the next slide, Ashish, we will have about 155 plus customers running SAP. And you see here some big names. A lot of them are in the manufacturing space, but they're also in media. They're also in hardware, software, and high-tech industry. So it's across the board. And all these customers have currently, right now, custom integration of most of them. And, you know, we heard loud and clear from our customers, you need to provide standard integrations between SAP and ZUORA. So that is what we embarked on it about a year and a half ago, and where we are working closely with Ashish and his team. So you go to the next slide. So we are, as you can see, that this initiative is very important for ZUORA, and we are building integrations between all SAP versions, so public cloud, private cloud, and SAP ECC. And we're building it in such a way that it is a no-code setup. It's no-code setup. It's easy to set up, easy to implement. And if you're in the middle of a cloud transformation, for instance, and you go from ECC to a private cloud, for instance, our architecture is that you will be able to take the same integration and point it to a different endpoint, and for the rest, you know, everything remains standard. So there's no code involved. So if you go to the next slide. So here you see kind of our roadmap here. On the top of it, you see the end-to-end processes within ZUORA. Let's say our order-to-cash processes within ZUORA. And at the bottom, in a simplified fashion, the order-to-cash processes and finance in SAP. And we have delivered our first launch of the SAP connector about 5-6 months ago right now. That's available now. It is also certified by SAP, by the way. And this is the connector that transfers journal entries, summarized journal entries from Zuora Billing and Zuora Revenue into SAP Finance, SAP GL for all the 3 SAP releases. So that's available now. It is certified, and we're working hard to release the next release, which is in September, and that will be invoice integration. So you will have, we will have a lot of customers who are running those complex business models, the subscription, but consumption-based models. They run everything on Zuora. And then the invoicing and AR will all take place on SAP and all the financials. So in those cases, we need the invoice to invoice integration. And that is becoming available in 2025 in September. And then we already embarked on the design for order integration. And that is the situation where in Zuora, for instance, let's say take the situation that SAP takes the order and they send the subscription item to Zuora or the usage-based item. Zuora processes that and, for instance, processes it all the way to Zuora Revenue, or it sends the invoice back to SAP. So all these integrations will be standard, no-code environment, and they're built on a BTP agent. So let's go to the next slide. Oh, before I go there, I just want to kind of give you a snapshot of, this. We are certified for the first release of the connector. We also have reached the next level of partnership with SAP, Build Partner, and obviously we are not stopping here. We're continuing our partnership with SAP, and we will have recertifications as we build out our roadmap. So let's talk about the architecture on the next slide. So here, what I mentioned from an architecture perspective, here you see our 2 main products, Zuora Billing and Zuora Revenue. We have a so-called integration hub, where integration hub is responsible to extract the data in a unified fashion from either billing and revenue or one of the 2. And it goes via an SAP BTP agent to the different versions of SAP. And this is what I meant. If you're in the middle of a cloud transformation, you would run our connector. In the middle of that transformation, you go from ECC to the private cloud. This all remains the same. But within the BTP agent, we have configured this that it can be pointing to private cloud instead of ECC. This is one of the scenarios. So this is also the area that is certified on what I just mentioned. And every customer that is running our connector will get a sub-account on our BTP agent. So this is licensed by Zuora, the SAP BTP agent. So we have full control over the code, our releases, and our code base. So that is kind of on a high level, the roadmap that we're doing together with SAP with the help of Accrete. And we're really in the middle, and we're really happy to give you more information about it. So to conclude, let's go to the next slide. Want to kind of emphasize, really what's the value of, Zuora together with SAP is really that you can launch those complex pricing models at scale, but also quickly. So we are really tailored to process these models quick and fast. You're also able to process those hybrid business models. And for instance, if there is a business model that includes also a physical good, that is that one of the integrations, that physical good can be sent with the standard connector to SAP for fulfillment, inventory management, and pointed back to ZUORA. We also have our revenue products, or revenue, that is very natively integrated with these complex business models, those pricing models. So all those revenue rules, the revenue recognition rules and policies and things like that, they're very natively integrated between ZUORA Billing and ZUORA Revenue. With moving some of those models onto ZUORA, you will, in fact, it will be easier for you to move to the cloud and offload some of the, let's say, order to cash processes onto ZUORA. We're very much aware, we build the connectors also with based on principles of SAP, keeping the core clean, reducing the level of customization. So that's why I mentioned our connector is really no code configuration and setup. And with that, with all use of modern integration techniques, you will be able to kind of reduce the burden on custom integration, manual labor, and stuff like that. So these are kind of the more the key takeaways. With that, I want to thank again AJ and Ashish for letting me co-present the ZUORA pieces of it, and I'm very happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thanks, Petra. So we have a couple more slides. So some of the lessons learned, and we'll do a quick comparison between the solutions. So we have SAP BRIM, which is part of S4HANA, which includes charging, conversion charging, invoicing, and subscription management. We have subscription billing, which I talked about, and then we have ZUORA. So SAP BRIM is generally designed for large enterprises for complex and high volume billing needs. Subscription billing is really designed for mid-size and small companies. ZUORA can take care of large to small, all kinds of scenarios. Conversion charging, as I said, is an extra license fee, but conversion invoicing and subscriptions are included in S4. Not all companies need conversion charging. As I said, there are specific scenarios under which you will need them. Subscription billing is also a billing solution primarily. It's a separate product from SAP, and it integrates with S4, as I just showed you. And ZUORA has three products: ZUORA Billing, ZUORA Payments, and ZUORA Revenue, which cover pretty much the execution side from orders to payments. SAP BRIM does bundle products and subscriptions as well. Subscription billing supports primarily subscriptions only, but you can do the quote in S4 and do an integration and still do the end-to-end bundle products as well. Similarly, ZUORA does subscriptions, but it can be using the BTP integration tool which is being built, agent which is being built. You can do the end-to-end bundle products processes as well. BRIM is a end-to-end. You can see it's from quoting to the billing process, end-to-end solution. Subscription billing is primarily for subscriptions and billing, of course. And then ZUORA is primarily from order to revenue processes as well. Then there is for rating and pricing, BRIM can support very complex ones as well. Subscription billing is primarily for simpler rating and pricing models, and ZUORA can do all kinds of. ZUORA is quite adept in doing different medium, small, easy to complex models for all of them. Again, the rest you can read through it, but that's the key differences between the three solutions. And then some of the lessons learned and recommendations. If you are embarking on a journey for either a digital transformation for migrating from SAP CRM and ECC to S4, or even you want to go to the journey of implementing SAP CPQ or subscription products or new business models, you should decide the future state architecture as early as possible, because the solutions are, depending on I was able to show you multiple options, and depending on the complexity, you have to choose what's the right option for you. The other key thing is that you need to define the end-to-end process, because there are multiple things starting from starting from a quote or an opportunity, ending up in a revenue recognition or payments, etc. So there are multiple steps which are involved and multiple departments which are involved. So end-to-end processes need to be defined, whether you're doing a greenfield, and if you're doing a brownfield, then you have to update the processes as well. You should look at BRIM and ZUORA as options if you're migrating from existing subscription model or usage solution, whether it's SAP CRM or any other tool, as an option as well. I also look at bundling because subscriptions alone, as Petra mentioned, there are different models which are there and new models are evolving. You should look at the different rules which are available and advanced variant configurations which can be leveraged as well. And then lastly, I would point out that RAR is a must-have in most of these scenarios because you will have to recognize revenue over a period of time or based on event, whether it's a subscription or a service, and you need to plan for sufficient time for this as well. Again, Zuora revenue is also an option which you can look at for instead of RAR to implement as well. So that is all I have, and I'm handing it back to Ajay. Ajay.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you, Petra. So, Ashish, I think we have a couple of questions, but maybe you already answered. But if you want to add, that's fine.
Sure.
One is, in what scenario would you recommend SAP subscription billing or BRIM or vice versa? And how should we evaluate SAP versus Zuora for hybrid subscription models?
Yeah, so for the first question, I already gave you the differences between the two, subscription billing versus SAP BRIM. It's more for less complex models, and if you are not looking for quoting and if you're not looking for bundling, that is where subscription billing can be used. If you're doing pure subscriptions and they have a simpler subscription structure, and you primarily doing rating and pricing for them and billing, you could use subscription billing as well, right? And for the second scenario, whether you should use Zuora with SAP integration or use with BRIM, that needs a little more discussion because that's a question based on your landscape, based on your business requirements, because there are some functionalities which Zuora might do out of the box and BRIM might not do it, or it could be vice versa as well, or there could be other reasons why you would want to go one versus the other. But in my opinion, both are good options, and you should look at, we'll have to basically evaluate what's the best option for your business requirements, your system landscape, your technical architecture, etc., etc.
Thank you, Ashish. Petra, you would like to add something to these questions?
No, I agree with Ashish. If you would like to know kind of more like what's the best option for those hybrid orders, I would say let us know and we'll set up a meeting with you and go through your requirements. There's a lot of different ins and outs. Again, in principle, Zuora can handle all business models, and certainly with the integration also hardware items could be sent to SAP for fulfillment, inventory management and fulfillment, and sent back to Zuora. So in principle, we can handle that as well, but there are more ins and outs. So we're happy to give you more information about it if we kind of know more, what your requirements are.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so with this, we are at the end of our session for today. We will share the recording of this webinar with all the participants. They can share that with their colleagues as well. And if they have any question, they can write to us. The email ID that is showing up right now on screen, sales@acnsol.com. And they can reach out to us for a quick 30 minutes meeting that we can schedule to discuss the scenarios that they have right now in hand. And in the end, thank you, Petra and Ashish. And thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. As I mentioned, you will receive the email with the link to recording of this webinar. And on behalf of Accrete and our presenters, thank you for joining us today and have a nice day. Thank you.